What if I told you there's a single American ranch so massive that if you started driving across it at sunrise, you'd still be on the same property when the sun sets? What I'm about to show you will make you question everything you thought you knew about the size of American agriculture. The number one ranch on this list will absolutely blow your mind. Number 10, Matador Ranch, Montana. In the early 1950s, a wealthy Texas businessman stood on a windswept Montana hillside and made a decision that would change American ranching forever. He bought what locals called worthless grassland, land so remote that supplies had to be trucked in from hundreds of miles away. Everyone said he was crazy. Today, that worthless land has become one of Montana's most productive cattle operations. The Matador Ranch spans 210,000 acres where cowboys still earn good wages doing the same job their great-grandfathers did, except now they use modern pickup trucks and GPS systems. The ranch has become a symbol of how American determination can turn the impossible into the profitable. But here's what'll shock you. This ranch is so remote that when a blizzard hits, cowboys can be stranded for weeks. The ranch maintains its own airstrip because ground transportation simply isn't reliable. During brutal Montana winters, the ranch spends enormous amounts just on hay to keep cattle alive when temperatures drop well below zero for weeks at a time. Some sections of the ranch are so isolated that cell phone towers had to be specially installed just for the workers. The cowboys who work here aren't just ranch hands, they're modern pioneers keeping alive the traditions that built the American West. Number 9, Ladder Ranch, New Mexico. Media mogul Ted Turner bought this New Mexico ranch in the 1990s, but he wasn't buying it for cattle. He had a vision that seemed impossible. Bring back species that had been extinct in the wild for over a century. The locals thought he'd lost his mind. Turner saw something others couldn't, the potential to heal ecosystems that had been broken for generations. The Ladder Ranch became Turner's laboratory for one of the most expensive conservation experiments in American history. He spent millions building specialized facilities to breed endangered species, including Mexican gray wolves that were down to just a handful of breeding pairs in the entire world. Scientists from universities across America now study the ranch's conservation methods. Here's the incredible part. Turner's gamble worked. Today, the ranch has successfully bred and released dozens of wolves back into the wild. Some of the breeding pairs are incredibly valuable because their genetics are so rare. The ranch now generates substantial revenue from hunting and ecotourism, proving that conservation can be profitable. Wildlife photographers travel from around the world to capture images of species that were once thought lost forever. The ranch has become a model for how private landowners can contribute to species recovery while maintaining profitable operations. Number 8, Kokernot, 06 Ranch, Texas. In 1912, Herbert Kokernot Sr. bought this West Texas ranch for a bargain price. Land so harsh that previous owners had gone bankrupt trying to make it productive. What Kokernot saw that others missed was water. Deep underground lay one of the largest freshwater aquifers in Texas. The desert landscape that scared away other buyers was exactly what Kokernot knew would protect his investment from development. Today, that water is worth more than oil. The ranch sits on billions of gallons of underground water, making it one of the most valuable properties in Texas. The water rights alone are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. In a state where water is becoming more precious than petroleum, the Kokernot family's foresight has created generational wealth. But here's what makes this ranch legendary. They've bred horses worth more than most people's houses. Their horses regularly sell for six-figure amounts at auction. The ranch's breeding program generates millions annually, making it as much a horse empire as a cattle operation. Buyers come from around the world to purchase their premium bloodlines. The ranch's annual horse sale is considered one of the most prestigious events in the quarter horse world. Some of their stallions have sired champions that have earned millions in prize money across multiple generations. Number 7. Deseret Ranches, Florida. When the Mormon Church bought this Florida swamp land in 1950, critics called it one of the worst investments in church history. The land was so wet and mosquito-infested that workers had to wear full protective gear just to survey the property. It seemed like money thrown away. Local newspapers mocked the purchase, calling it the Great Florida Folly. Decades later, that investment has become worth well over $1 billion and generates hundreds of millions annually. The transformation required one of the largest drainage projects in Florida history, moving enough dirt to create some of the most productive cattle land in America. Engineers had to invent new drainage techniques specifically for this project, methods that are now used in wetland reclamation projects worldwide. Here's the staggering reality. This ranch runs 44,000 head of cattle that produce enough beef to supply major restaurant chains across Florida. The operation is so massive, it has its own ZIP code, fire department, and medical facilities. The ranch processes hundreds of head of cattle daily through its own USDA-certified facilities. The ranch has become a model for sustainable cattle ranching in wetland environments, proving that environmental stewardship and agricultural productivity can work hand in hand. Visitors from agricultural universities around the world come to study the ranch's innovative grazing and land management techniques. Number 6. 4 Sixes Ranch, Texas. The legend says Captain Samuel Burke Burnett won this ranch in a poker game with 4 sixes in 1870. Whether that's true or not, what happened next is documented history. Burnett built one of the most valuable ranching empires in America, now worth billions. The ranch became so famous that it inspired countless Western novels and movies, cementing its place in American folklore. The real story is what happened recently when the ranch sold for a record-breaking amount to a group led by Yellowstone creator Taylor Sheridan. It was one of the largest ranch sales in Texas history, proving that American agricultural land has become incredibly valuable. Sheridan's purchase ensures that the ranch's traditions will be preserved and showcased to millions of television viewers worldwide. Here's what made this ranch worth hundreds of millions. Their horses. The 4 Sixes has produced prize-winning quarter horses worth millions collectively. Their horses have earned substantial prize money over the decades, and their offspring regularly sell for 6-figure amounts. The ranch's annual horse auction brings in buyers who think nothing of spending enormous sums on a single animal. The ranch's breeding program has influenced quarter horse genetics across America, with their bloodlines found in champion horses from coast to coast. Cowboys who work at the 4 Sixes are considered among the elite in the profession, with many going on to manage other major ranches across the West. Number 5. Waggoner Ranch, Texas. In 2016, billionaire Stan Kroenke bought the Waggoner Ranch in what was the largest ranch sale in American history at the time. But Kroenke wasn't just buying land, he was buying an oil field that happened to have cattle on it. The ranch had been in the same family for over 160 years before the sale, making it one of the longest-held family ranches in American history. The ranch sits on top of one of the richest oil deposits in Texas, with hundreds of active wells producing thousands of barrels of oil daily. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of oil every single day, generating tens of millions annually just from petroleum production. The cattle operation runs alongside this massive energy business. The ranch's oil production has been so significant that it helped fuel America's energy independence efforts during multiple decades. Here's the mind-blowing part. The ranch is so large, it has its own power grid, telephone system, and infrastructure. During World War II, the ranch was so strategically important that it had military protection. Today, the ranch employs hundreds of people year-round and operates like a small city with an annual budget in the hundreds of millions. The ranch maintains its own fire department, medical facilities, and even its own railroad system for moving cattle and equipment. Some sections of the ranch are so remote that they have their own weather patterns, with different areas experiencing completely different conditions on the same day. Number 4. Drummond Ranch, Oklahoma. Reed Drummond's family ranch generates enormous revenue annually, but not just from cattle. The Pioneer Woman brand, built on stories from this ranch, has become a multimedia empire worth tens of millions. What started as a blog about ranch life became a food network empire that transformed rural Oklahoma into a tourist destination. The Drummond story proves that authentic American agriculture can capture the imagination of people worldwide. The ranch runs 25,000 head of cattle worth tens of millions, but the real money comes from diversification. The Drummond Lodge, their on-ranch hotel, stays booked solid at premium rates. Their restaurant in nearby Pawhuska serves thousands of customers daily during peak season, generating millions annually. The ranch has become a pilgrimage site for fans of authentic American ranch life, with visitors traveling from all 50 states and dozens of countries. Here's what's remarkable. This ranch has created an entire economy around itself. Property values in Pawhuska have dramatically increased since the Pioneer Woman show began. The ranch's annual economic impact on the region exceeds tens of millions of dollars, supporting over 1,000 jobs in a county that had been losing population for decades. Local businesses that were struggling before the show now have waiting lists for customers. The ranch has single-handedly revitalized an entire Oklahoma community, proving that American agriculture can be an economic engine far beyond just food production. Number 3. Briscoe Ranch, Texas. When this ranch sold recently for an undisclosed amount rumored to exceed $1 billion, it became one of the most expensive land transactions in American history. The buyers saw something beyond cattle, water rights, worth more than oil. The ranch had been assembled over decades by the Briscoe family, who understood that in Texas, water would eventually become more valuable than any other resource. The ranch controls water rights to multiple rivers and underground aquifers containing billions of gallons of water. In drought-prone Texas, those water rights are incredibly valuable, with some estimates putting the total water value in the hundreds of millions. The ranch's water resources are so significant that they could supply major Texas cities during drought emergencies. But here's what makes this ranch a hunter's paradise: trophy hunts that cost more than luxury cars. Premium hunting packages can cost tens of thousands of dollars, with some trophy fees reaching 5 figures for a single animal. The ranch's hunting operation generates tens of millions annually, with wealthy sportsmen booking hunts years in advance. The ranch maintains some of the finest hunting lodges in America, with accommodations that rival 5-star hotels. International hunters consider a trip to Briscoe Ranch to be the ultimate American hunting experience, with some clients returning year after year for decades. Number 2. King Ranch, Texas. King Ranch isn't just large, it's a billion-dollar agricultural corporation that's been in the same family for 170 years. The ranch generates hundreds of millions annually from cattle, farming, hunting, and oil production, making it one of the most valuable private companies in Texas. The King family's success story represents the ultimate American dream, starting with nothing and building an empire that has lasted through 6 generations. The ranch's cattle operation alone is worth hundreds of millions, running 35,000 head of their own Santa Gertrudis breed, cattle so valuable that breeding bulls sell for six-figure amounts. Their genetic program has influenced cattle breeding worldwide, with King Ranch genetics in herds on multiple continents. The ranch's innovation in cattle breeding has contributed billions to the American beef industry through improved genetics and productivity. Here's the staggering reality. King Ranch is larger than the state of Rhode Island and generates more revenue than many major corporations. The ranch employs over 400 people year-round with an annual payroll in the tens of millions. Their hunting operation charges premium rates for multi-day hunts, and they're booked solid years in advance. The ranch has its own cotton gin, grain elevators, and processing facilities, making it completely vertically integrated. King Ranch has survived the Civil War, 2 World Wars, the Great Depression, and countless economic challenges while never missing a year of operation, proving the resilience of American agricultural enterprise. Number 1. Vermejo Park Ranch, New Mexico/Colorado. Ted Turner bought this ranch in the 1990s for tens of millions, but that was just the beginning. He's invested hundreds of millions transforming it into the ultimate conservation ranch, creating an operation that generates tens of millions annually while protecting some of America's most pristine wilderness. Turner's vision was to prove that conservation could be profitable, creating a model that other landowners could follow. The ranch runs approximately 18,000 head of bison, one of the largest private herds in America, worth tens of millions. But substantial revenue comes from hunting and ecotourism. Premium elk hunts cost tens of thousands of dollars, and the ranch hosts hundreds of hunts annually. Luxury fishing packages cost thousands per day, and they're consistently booked. The ranch has become a destination for wealthy conservationists who want to experience authentic American wilderness while supporting habitat preservation. Here's what makes this ranch truly extraordinary. It's profitable conservation on an unprecedented scale. The ranch has successfully reintroduced species that were extinct in the region, including river otters and native trout. Turner's investment has created a self-sustaining ecosystem that proves conservation and profit can work together, generating substantial returns while preserving nearly 1 million acres of American wilderness. Scientists from major universities conduct research on the ranch, studying everything from climate change impacts to wildlife behavior. The ranch has become a living laboratory that demonstrates how private conservation can succeed where government programs have failed, creating a legacy that will benefit America's natural heritage for generations to come. These 10 incredible ranches prove that American agriculture operates on scales that dwarf entire states, with operations that have fed our nation for generations while preserving our agricultural heritage. From Montana's Big Sky Country to ranches spanning 2 states, these operations represent the backbone of American food production. Subscribe for more amazing stories about American agriculture, and check out the next video about the forgotten vegetables that built our farming traditions.